passive-aggressive behaviours of a narcissistic person. Now, grandiose, overt narcissists can resort to using passive-aggressive behaviours. However, it's more the covert, fragile narcissists that use these because they don't feel like they've got the same authority over other people as the grandiose believes they do. So the grandiose can be more aggressive and assertive and in your face. The covert tends to hide back a bit more and play the worries me victim a bit more to gain the sympathetic attention. So when it comes to their passive-aggressive behaviour, this stems from their need of control. They are very self-entitled and they lack the empathy to care about how their behaviour affects those around them. They just care about getting the validation and the supply that they require. So one of the first of these passive-aggressive behaviours is their backhanded compliments. They're going to go all out to criticise, to mock, to humiliate, to belittle, to undermine other people with that kind of false sense of courtesy. So they will purposefully pick something out on you, and it's not a case of they think you actually do look better or that it suits you or that it's nice, or they just slip up like genuine people can and sort of say, oh, I love your hair today. Oh, I didn't mean it. I liked it yesterday too. It was very nice yesterday. It looks really nice today. But you can, and then they kind of dig themselves deeper, but they were just offering a genuine compliment. A narcissistic person will purposefully say, oh, that looks much better than what you did to it yesterday. Don't know what you were thinking doing that yesterday. So they've given you that kind of compliment to sort of build you up while then shattering you at the same time. Yet as constructive feedback can be very similar, it's very difficult to recognise when someone's giving you constructive feedback and when someone's giving you a backhanded compliment. Narcissistic people use those seemingly innocent remarks because we are all capable of doing it, but with a narcissist there's that underlying intent behind it. So they seemingly give you those innocent remarks to hide their insults and their criticism and them trying to change who you are as a person. So you kind of feel confused and invalidated because, well, you're feeling confused because you've been complimented but invalidated at the same time. So it's a bit like, oh, thanks, not quite sure. They lack the empathy then to care. So a genuine person who would accidentally do this then sort of digs themselves a hole trying to get out of it because they care that they might have potentially hurt your feelings. Narcissistic people do not care whether they've hurt someone else's feelings. They care about getting their own way. The silent treatment is another one where they will actively ignore you or withhold communication, withhold attention, withhold support to assert power and control over you. It's a form of punishment to make their victims feel unworthy of communication, to make their victims feel unimportant. And they can go a step beyond with their silent treatment because they can fall silent with you but still communicate with all those around you while giving those backhanded compliments. Oh, wasn't so-and-so in a much better mood yesterday than they are today? It's just slowly chip away at you and gain findmongers and enablers to their side. Similar to that stonewalling when you try to communicate with them and they just switch off. They can actually invite their friends or family over. Their friends and family can come over or they can invite yours over, and then they sit there blankly staring at the TV or turning the volume up or watching their phone or taking themselves off to the bed and just ignoring everybody. Meanwhile, their victim is usually, they've had a busy work day at work, they've had a busy week at work, or they're feeling a little bit stressed, making excuses for the narcissist, as the narcissist goes all out to wind you up and frustrate you in front of others so you explode at them. So the narcissist blames you for their behaviour to their friends and family or to your friends and family. Playing the victim is another one. A narcissist will adopt the role of victim to elicit sympathetic attention. Oh, nothing I ever do is good enough for you, is it? Because they need that appreciation and that validation. No matter how many times you say thank you, no matter how many times you pay them back, it's not enough. They want more. Every action with a narcissist is a transaction. Intentional inefficiency, deliberately delaying or stalling or avoiding the things that they said they would do, especially if you've got some sort of important event coming up. They will deliberately stall and delay to frustrate you, to agitate you, to make you feel anxious, so that they can feel better about themselves. They will promise you something and then deliberately not do it, and then gaslight you and claim that they never promised to do it in the first place, to cause that frustration and confusion and even that dependency on them. They will deliberately do something for you and they will deliberately do it wrong. Now, whenever we do anything new, it's a learning curve. Sometimes we do get things the first time, other times it takes a few times. There's no shame in that. We're kind of taught to feel ashamed a lot these days. However, when you make something for another person, something simple like making them a cup of coffee, these people, I'm not particularly bothered how my coffee comes. I'll usually just drink it. Yes, I can have somewhere I think, oh, that tastes nicer than the other. If someone makes me a coffee, great, thanks. I'm not really bothered how it comes. Some people, not narcissistic people, are very particular on how they like their coffee. They're very particular on how they like their coffee, and any other coffee just doesn't cut it. They just don't like the taste. They just can't drink it. And it's not to be mean, it's not to be offensive. It's who they are as a person. Now, when you're getting to know a new person and it's how do you like your coffee, and someone says, oh, milk, no sugar, it doesn't matter what milk goes in or anything like that, that's relatively easy to do. Whereby when you discuss with someone who's, oh, I like this type of milk and only that much milk and half a teaspoon of sugar, and then you can say, oh, how was the coffee? Ooh, could have done with a little bit more sugar. So the person then knows to just put a little bit more sugar in. And when you care about someone, you're willing to do that for someone, which a narcissist knows, so they will train you. Yet even when you get it right, the next day it will be wrong. Whereas a genuine person will be, oh, thank you for going to the effort. I prefer a bit more sugar. Sounds like a backhanded compliment, but it's not. It's to do things right for each other. Whereas a narcissistic person will intentionally do it wrong so that you don't ask them again, or they can say to you, well, don't ask me again. So they can ignore your birthday, and then they can take you by surprise and suddenly do something for themselves for your birthday and expect that obligation. And when you're out of sorts, they'll say, oh, don't expect me to do anything for you next year. It's so ungrateful. And you can think, what? And it's a very confusing situation to be in, because they will intentionally be inefficient at something. Genuine people want to learn and grow and develop. Narcissistic people, somebody else's fault. Gaslighting, they go all out to confuse people, to destabilize people, to erode people's confidence and trust within themselves, within reality, and within other people. And that sarcastic humour, where they will go all out to belittle you, mock you, humiliate you, and then accuse you of being unable to take a joke because they lack the empathy to care for how their behaviour has affected you. They actually feel smug when they get that negative reaction out of you. They use sarcasm to demean and to mock and to criticise and to indirectly hurt you. Now, as people can use sarcasm, and people can use sarcasm that's not particularly directed at someone, And a fragile narcissist will look to be offended by that, even though it wasn't directed at them, rather than just thinking everyone's an individual, wasn't aimed at me. A fragile narcissist will think anything was aimed at them, because after all, they're the best thing since sliced bread. So you aimed it at them, they can play the victim in the story. However, with their double standards, they're happy to use sarcasm to bring other people down, to hurt other people, to humiliate other people, and to blame other people for being offended. You'll notice with a fragile narcissist and their victim plays, they're allowed to be the victim. Nobody else is. No one else is allowed to be a victim. They're the biggest victim you've ever met. They don't have the empathy to show the compassion for genuine victims. They're all wrapped up in themselves. If anyone has any thoughts on this video, please do add those into the comments for people reading through. Thank you very much to all the returning subscribers and your continued support with the channel. It's greatly appreciated. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw. This channel is all about narcissistic behaviour, to give you more understanding of the people you might be dealing with within your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and different methods to find what works for you to help you understand and overcome narcissistic and emotional abuse. If you do find the information helpful on the channel, please do subscribe. If you are looking for further help and support in your understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse, I do have several online guides available, and those teachable links are in the video description. If you're looking for someone to speak to or have partnered with BetterHelp, and their sponsored link is also in the video description. I do also have a couple of books out on Amazon, 15 Rules to Deal with Narcissistic People if you cannot go no contact, and a Narcissists Handbook, which is the ultimate guide to understanding and overcoming narcissistic and emotional abuse. I'll add those into the description also if you'd like to go and check them out. Go out there and create the day that you deserve, because you do deserve to have an amazing day. Bye.